here that this also comes to the very act that the fallen angels did. It says, and they all answered him and said, let us swear an oath and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And that by mutual imprecations, that means that something bad will happen to you if you don't do it. And we're going, and the idea and the full drama of what was taking place here. I mean, these angels left their heavenly bodies. They really deserved to die. They went and done things that could never be reversed, and they swore an oath together never to go back, but to fulfill this plan to destroy the human genome. And the plan that to destroy human genetics and to corrupt them, this was a specific plan sworn by an oath. The very highest elite of the satanic spiritual hierarchy swore an oath, and conceived angels, deceived angels, who swore an oath to be committed to this. This is a plan, and we can still see the ramifications of this plan working themselves out. But believe it or not, we also have evidence here. We're going to play a little video for you. There was a fellow by the name of Charles Warren, who is a British explorer. He actually found on top of Mount Hermon a plaque that was inscribed that could very well be the original oath that the fallen angels swore. Interestingly enough, Mr. Charles Warren went on to be the investigator in England during the Jack the Ripper murders. So we're just going to play a little bit of this for you. And to me, this is just absolutely amazing that the very oath and the plaque to commemorate it might actually have been found here by Mr. Warren. But we'll just let you take a look at this.
As part of his duties, Warren surveyed the Old City and the Temple Mount, and in 1867 surveyed a spring that provided fresh water to the Bronze Age and Iron Age of Jerusalem. And in 1869, on behalf of the Palestinian Exploration Fund, Sir Charles climbed up the forbidding sides of Mount Hermon to determine its true height and describe any archaeological sites found there. As such, Warren explored, measured, and sketched an ancient temple known as Khazar Antar. Here, he passed through the temple and continued upwards along the peak in a strange anti-clockwise spiral pattern in order to reach the summit. The southern peak's rocky terrain had appeared to have been scooped out and what appeared to be sacrificial altars to ancient gods of the mountain. Fascinated and confused at the same time, Warren explored and surveyed the area, documenting much of what he found. He then discovered within the area a strange stele, which is a stone pillar, otherwise known as a tablet, engraved on one side in an ancient language, the closest being ancient Greek. Before leaving the summit, Warren chose to remove the marker and carry it down the 9,000-foot height for transfer to London, but being 4 feet thick and far heavier than his team could manage, he ordered the stone to be sliced in half to reduce its thickness and weight. And although the lighter weight did make the trip down the mountain much easier, the ancient stone suffered as a result, cracking horizontally along its midsection. Upon returning it to the British Museum, it was then later inspected by scholars and translators, and the writing on the stone appeared to have a phrase they could make out, and it read this: "According to the command of the greatest and most holy God, those who take the oath proceed from here." Now it was debated if the translation was 100% accurate due to the damage done by the splitting of the stone, and debates on its translation due to it being what they described as ancient Greek, but the translation of the stone roughly stayed the same. Strangely enough, any photographs of the temple of Khazar Antar are almost non-existent. In fact, the photos that exist from the exploration were extremely hard to come by, and they are very limited. And the site of the temple documented by Warren is now sealed off by the UN building that sits there today, and no modern photographs or videos exist. However, Warren did manage to draw a schematic of the temple, as shown here. The marker is currently housed at the British Museum, listed as item number 1903-0422-1, but is told it is no longer displayed to the public for unknown reasons.
I'll tell you something interesting that I saw on that, David, that really struck my interest is these letters on this would look like English letters. They don't look like the old phonetic or Phoenician language or the old Hebrew language that we're used to seeing as one of the oldest depictions of language. They said it looks like Greek letters, but it looks like English letters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, the entrance to this is sealed off by the UN building that's down on the top of Mount Hermon. And of course, they pulled this so no one can look at it. And the whole temple there, what it looked like to me, it had the circular appearance of a portal. And like a lot of the pictures that you can see of the poles, the hole in the middle that you can see on the poles, it looked very much like to that, and a portal.
Yeah.
And what else would we expect there from Mount Hermon? But as I say, you just can't make this up. And I think it's quite likely, they that don't take the oath proceed from here, because it was a definitive plan for these fallen ones to destroy the human genome, and that plan is still being executed with the greatest of diligence and forethought.